When you have made a car model that have been on the market for over a decade, you have made something right. And that is exactly what Volvo has done with the XC90. On the market for over a decade. A decade. It had received a fairly minor facelift before, but this is the big facelift. So in this review, we're of course going to talk about the facelift, but of course to talk about the now iconic XC90. And let's talk design, because the XC90 was the car that initiated the new design language for Volvo and even Polestar, I would argue. While other car manufacturers are doing new things, BMW with their Neue Klasse, for example, the Volvo has been refreshingly unchanged in many ways. And here in the facelift, you have a slightly new front fascia, but relatively unchanged. It's a little bit smarter in here with the darked out package. Makes it look a little bit more aggressive, but this is a big car, a 7-seater. But the weight, the size is hidden quite efficiently, and it looks smart, stylish and timeless. It's quite high up, this bonnet, and this little mechanism to open was quite flimsy and difficult to understand how it works. But we are here in the engine bay here, and let me talk about the power plant. 2-liter turbocharged and supercharged petrol engine combined with an electric engine and a battery of 19 kilowatt hour. Combined output 455 horsepower, making this XC90 go from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 5.6 seconds, 2.3 tons. The pure electric range is 59 kilometers, which compared to some of the competition is far from class leading, which I think is one of the downsides of this T8 power plant. It's not up to par with some of the competitors, but it gives a decent electric range. But now let's talk about the charging of this. Unfortunately, one place where you notice that this is not the latest of platforms is the charging speed. So if you're using your electrical outlet from home, you'll charge up to 3.2 kilowatt. But if you have a wall box charger, you can charge up to 6.4. There are other competitors that can go up to 11 or even 22 or even higher. So this is not as advanced as those, but with a 19 kilowatt hour battery does mean that you will charge in enough time. If you are at work, this will be topped up from 0 to 100% at your work. You don't have to worry about it. So still usable. The Volvo XC90 is Volvo's biggest car in their lineup, and it costs about or even over in this spec 1 million Swedish kronor, which is just about 97,000 euros. So that means that this car is competing against the Mercedes GLE, the Audi Q7, Volkswagen Touareg and BMW X5, X7. So it needs to deliver on basically every single aspect. And I think it does in many ways with its Swedish heritage and the old school design. The rear has been relatively unchanged. If you look to the side, you'll see on the lower side that there are some details that have been updated. But if you look at the entirety of the car, it's the front that has been updated the most. The rear is the classic XC90 rear light shape. You have the classic XC90 design and the T8 badge as well with the plug-in hybrid all-wheel drive logo. This is a big car, and of course we need to look at the rear storage space. So Volvo has this design or a function where you should kick the rear, but 9 times out of 10 it doesn't work for my case. So I have no idea what that is about, but you have a button underneath here. And in the rear storage space, you have a huge amount of space here. The third row of seats is now folded down. If you fold down the second row of seats, you have close to 2,000 liters of storage space. There is a heck of a lot of storage space. But if you fold up the third row of seats, of course, there's quite limited space here. But everything is manual though, so no button to raise the third row seat, so that's something that you have to take into consideration. This car is fitted with the hydraulic suspension or air suspension, which makes it possible to raise and lower the ride height with the press of buttons here in the back. So right now we are moving down slightly. You can even hear the air pump. So it makes it easy to get stuff in and out. And to get into the third row of seats, you have to pull quite a lot of latches. You have to, of course, put up the rear seats. You have to fold down the second row of seats, and then you have to get into the rear seats as well. And that's what I'm going to try to do with some amount of dignity here. So let's do that. And let's fold up the seat as well here. And how do I do that? On the side there's a latch. And then I fold it up here. And to be honest, I was expecting quite little seating space here, but I'm actually fitting. I have an armrest here, a cup holder, a little storage space here as well. There's nothing super bad to complain about, other than the fact that there's a little hump on the roof here that makes it quite uncomfortable for my 187 centimeters. I can move the seat both forward and backwards, and I can move the seat even further back and further forward, depending on how much space you want to have in the back. I have an armrest here with two cup holders. You have individual climate control here in the back, good headspace, an okay lower thigh support. You even have a window blind here and a panoramic sunroof. Welcome to the driver's seat of the facelifted Volvo XC90, and there have been a few changes. Most noticeably is the screen. It is not built in anymore, it's just an iPad glued onto the dash, and love it or hate it. It's sharp, it's responsive, it uses an Android based infotainment system, which means that you have Google navigation, which is fantastic. Easily readable, not that advanced, to be honest, very simplified. This will probably be the talking piece because the rest of the car is pretty traditional. This feels like it's taken from a Polestar, for example, and just glued on there. The extra option Bose & Wilkins sound system that comes with a specific package together with air suspension that I mentioned earlier. It's also a little bit new compared to earlier Volvo XC90s, and some of the design features, styling has been updated as well, but other things such as the air vents are very XC90. They have reworked a little bit here to get more space. They moved the wireless charging down here, so freed up some more space. Still using panel black plastic that has been scratched already quite a lot, but other than that, fantastically usable. You do have buttons on the steering wheel to control the digital gauge cluster, the cruise control, which is active here with pilot assist, and these amazing seats with massage function. One important thing that I should also mention is that this has some sort of climate package or climate control which cleans the air more efficiently compared to other car manufacturers' competitors. So if I go into the air condition and go to air quality, you can see how good the quality of the air is inside and outside. Important things to know if you are driving in very bad quality of air when you are using your Volvo XC90. And let's go. We'll start in the hybrid mode, which can easily change through the driver's mode setting on the infotainment screen. So everything related to vehicle dynamics, so the different drive modes, hybrid power, pure off-road and all-wheel drive, the battery usage to be in auto, keep or charge, steering from soft and firm, and to regulate the height of the air suspension to get in and out easier. This car is a plug-in hybrid, and in this car with the extra option air suspension, the hybrid power plant, the big battery that I talked about earlier, relatively powerful petrol 4-banger, and all the tech that is expected with the safety with a Volvo. There's a lot going on underneath and a lot of things that needs to be packaged. But then again, the Volvo XC90 has been around for some time for a reason. And that is because it's a damn fine vehicle, one of Volvo's best. While the Volvo V60 and the V90, the Estate, the Combis, the station wagons are out, this is still turning. And that is because it's a fantastic SUV. During the years, they have refined the car. Love it or hate it, this is still competing against the top levels of luxury SUVs. Then why does it do it? I talked about some of the changes, but let's go into the soft aspects of driving this XC90. And first and foremost, it's a very soft car, especially the steering. Very, very light. I can use my finger to steer it. Of course, I can change the steering to more firm driving response or the steering, but the whole car just feels easygoing. It's very refined, the visibility, incredible. Even back, the rear view window is big, is really big, and you can even have the digital rear view mirror as well. So you have both to choose from. There's a 360-degree camera system that is not on a level of a BMW X7 perhaps, or a iX for that matter. And then of course you have all the safety features that are working there underneath. You don't think about them, but they are existing. Steering will change into firm to see difference, and yes, there is a slight difference, but you can see that the car is quite soft. You do get some lean, and of course we have winter tires on, so you do have a lot of understeer. And while the air suspension does a phenomenal job together with the active chassis that changes the dampers up to 500 times per second, do sense the broken roads. You do feel the car moving, not crashing, but it absolutely feel those broken roads, those broken patches, those bad patches of tarmac or road in general. There are competitors, especially in the air suspension department, that does a better job at isolating you. But the car is by no means uncomfortable. On the opposite, it's a fantastic car to drive long distances. So with the active cruise control and with this air suspension, the big weight and plenty of power, the amazing sound system, 7 seats in total, what's there to complain about? It comes down to nitpicks, small things that I have to look at. Some of them being the refinement of the hybrid power plant a little bit. The steering, yeah, no, this is not an aggressive vehicle, but it would be nice to have a little bit more confidence through the bends. Another thing that I would like to highlight is the active cruise control. It does a fine enough job, but especially in corners, you can sense that the car is moving from side to side a little bit too much. Turning radius is fine, not the best. It does not have rear wheel steering. And the all-wheel drive is also a little bit interesting. Petrol engine is powering only the front wheels, and then the electric engine is powering only the rear wheels. You definitely feel that the front is pulling more than the rear. And you see that I'm actually bugging out quite impressively. And I mean, from a 4-banger and over 2.3 tons of weight, being able to accelerate that efficiently, it also have quite a nice tone when you're up in the rev range. Sometimes when the petrol engine kicks in, when you need to drive away from a standstill or in the city, it can sound a little bit rough and unrefined. It does a lot of things right, and it should do, because of the long life length of this car, over a decade. And that says something on how popular this XC90 is. I just think that this is the culmination of the best that Volvo has done with the V90s, the V60s, that generation, and taking in some design cues from Polestar, from the electric Volvos, the C40s, with the new infotainment system, new tech, and just elevated just slightly to increase the life length of this XC90. And what is my final verdict for this Volvo XC90? Well, it's luxurious, it's understated, and it brings enough tech to be competitive in 2026. This car brings a lot of value, a lot of luxury, and the Swedish design language, the engineering that Sweden can bring. And the XC90 is just one of the few cars right now in this segment that has stood the test of time with its traditional design and traditional look at a lot of the design values.